Welcome back, my name is David and we are about to turn this driftwood into something cool looking. And in case if you don't know what driftwood is, it's a piece of wood which are floating on the sea or have been washed ashore. Also commonly used in interior design or terrarium. And once the wood is cut to perfect size to fit our mold, I will use some hot glue, and now you just have to imagine, because I couldn't fit this into the frame, how gently and evenly and precisely I spread the glue at the bottom of the piece so it stays at the bottom. Then we are on to mixing some dip or resin, and as always I'm using Vista Ocean. And for those who have eagle eyes, you are right, the piece as it sits in the mold, it looks different than it was before, and it will also look different once the resin is mixed. And this is because I changed my mind how I will secure the piece, but editing is funny sometimes. So I'm not normally using alcohol ink, and if you don't know what alcohol ink is, it is basically gives some transparency for your resin. It does give a good color, but you can still see through the resin, rather than if you're using some metallic powder, and if you're using enough it could be completely solid color. So here, bit of a slow motion pouring, which looks like is a kind of slime, which I think is a cool color, just kind of trying to retain the natural color, which is green in my view. And I wanted to have a transparent view, so at the end, once it's turned into the final project, you can see through. And then onto the pressure pot, we'll be there for a couple of days. So see you back soon. This is seriously one of the most satisfying moments, when your piece just pops out of the mold, and here we are. Using my trusted 5 minutes epoxy resin, I will let the resin to fully cure, so probably I will leave for a couple of hours before it can go on the lathe, and boom! A couple of hours later, we are ready to go. As always, I'm using my negative rake scraper bits from Easy Wood Tools. It's an extremely solid carbide bit, which works extremely well on any hybrid projects. And here, just roughing out the shape for our tiny little ball. Also with this video edit, I'm trying a little bit different style. I'm trying to showcase a lot more different angles, and rather than having the usual kind of speeding up the footage by 300 times or 300% I guess, I will leave it like real-time turning, so you can probably experience a little bit better. But rather than having long footages or speed up, I will have shorter live time footages. So let me know what you prefer. I guess I will just see how it goes. And you may think a wood turner will always look at the cutting edge. Actually, when I turn, I normally look at the top side, and as you can see, as I'm moving down with my chisel, you can really see how the shape is kind of coming alive. And at the same time, you also keep an eye on the cutting edge as well, how the resin is building up. But you normally can really hear it and feel it if the cutting edge cuts smoothly or if there is any problem. So you don't necessarily need to look at all the time. So looking at the top of the project, it gives you a lot more indication how nicely and how smooth the surface is. And now we are on to working on the inside of the bore. And actually, when I was mainly working on the wooden parts, where wasn't as much as epoxy, this wood turned out to be really solid. The overall wood was very heavy as well, and also this type of wood normally could contain sand or even stone, obviously as they come from the sea, so it potentially something to watch out if you ever turn a piece like this, as it may hurt you or damage the tool. I also recently received so many emails about if my projects are up for sale, and the good news is I just uploaded 11 new items on my website, link down below in the description. And it is crazy because all those people are already shopping for Christmas. And I don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Some people can really... So once we have the final shape, I'm onto using my negative rake scraper. This just will remove all the tool marks before I can go on to do some light sanding. I will be only sanding this piece up to 120 grits, and then I will apply some coating resin. And you may say, oh, applying coating resin is so much easier than sending this all the way to 3000, then polish, then buff to make it look like a gloss finish. But then you would be wrong, because applying a clear finish, and actually a clear finish what looks perfect, is a lot more difficult. It's just so many things can go wrong. The resin not setting, a little dust particle falls into your resin, or a bubble didn't pop, or even an insect. I have seen flies and spiders going into coating resin, so anything can happen. But if you get it right, it will give you one of the best finish, and this is why I use coating resin. So it's a little bit of gamble, but sometimes worth the risk. Here I'm parting out the hole for my branding coin, and also I will utilize this hole for something else, but I will come to this a little bit later in this video. So I will make the hole slightly bit smaller than my branding coin. Again, I will cover this in a minute, why exactly I did that. And this is just a little sneak peek how this piece will look like, and I can tell you, once the resin is applied, it will look a lot better. So my plan is I will use my 5 minutes epoxy resin to glue this onto a vase block. So once I apply the coating resin, I can apply in one single go rather than having finishing the top and then the bottom, which then normally leaves you with a bit of a dilemma how to finish to make sure that you can blend the two different coats together. This will allow me to do in one attempt, and hopefully it will turn out as good as I imagine. Gentle blowtorch, not to burn the resin, but to pop all the little resin bubbles. And we are back in a couple of days time. The resin is fully hardened and turned out incredible. And now what you hear is the inner voice of David the Maker. And I was telling him, David, don't do this. David, stop, stop, stop. David, please, don't do this. Stop, stop. I told you. Yeah, I'm slightly lost for words. I'm normally quite a cautious guy when it comes to making, especially when I'm in the finishing stages. But here I totally screwed up. So now I'm back onto a different plan, and rather than drilling out the hole and therefore the waste block, I will have to reverse mount this piece again and trying to chisel the piece out, because the scratch got into so deep into the wood I couldn't just sand it out, so I had to get it back on the lathes, chisel out some of the bottom part, therefore obviously the coating resin, and send it back up again to 120 crits, making the right size for my branding coins before I could go back again and do another layers of epoxy resin. It could have been a lot worse, obviously, but it was still a rather unpleasant experience. So here, just applying some coating resin with a brush and trying to kind of follow the line from the first layer. And by the end, I was very pleased how it turned out. And if you haven't already smashed that big red subscribe button, please do so. It does help me to grow this channel and to come back to you week after week with new and exciting projects. And thank you for watching, and here we are.